From the DMI News Centre, this is Emirates News with Ramia Faraj.
Hello and welcome to Emirates News, broadcasting from Dubai. I'm Ramia Faraj. The headlines tonight. The Dubai Crown Prince issues directives to make the Emirates a cycle-friendly city. The UAE sends more aid to Lebanon to help those affected by the Beirut explosion.
In the business tonight, earnings season continues and results are in from many of the UAE leading companies, including ADNOC, TAQA, Shua and Aldar, covering core sectors of the economy.
And in the sport, tomorrow morning, Ski Dubai will turn into a sub-zero running track. 300 runners have signed up to take part in the first ever snow run.
Dubai Crown Prince and Chairman of the Dubai Executive Council, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, today directed the concerned authorities to make Dubai a cycle-friendly city. Sheikh Hamdan's directive aims to implement international best practices to improve the Emirates' infrastructure to suit bicycle riders. The move is in line with the goals of Dubai Plan 2021, which aims to make the Emirate one of the safest places to live and work. The UAE has reiterated its support for Sudan in the transitional stage it's going through. Minister of State for Foreign Affairs Dr. Anwar bin Mohammed Gargash said the UAE also backs Sudan's efforts to achieve security and stability for its people. Gargash said Sudan is advancing on the right path to be a successful story and a model to be emulated by the countries of the region. Gargash also underlined the depth of UAE-Sudan relations and the strong bonds between their peoples. He made the statements as he attended the 8th meeting of the Friends of Sudan group. Another UAE aid plane has arrived in Lebanon equipped with around 100 tons of medicines, food and nutritional supplements for children, in addition to other aid supplies to help those affected by the Beirut explosion. This is the 4th aircraft dispatched by the UAE. It's part of the country's efforts to reduce the suffering of people affected by last week's bomb blast. The plane also carried an ERC delegation who will be fulfilling various humanitarian work like delivering aid, assessing the situation on the ground, and identifying further humanitarian needs. Emirates Sky Cargo has announced plans to ramp up its operations to Lebanon by dedicating over 50 flights to deliver critical emergency relief to the hundreds of thousands of people affected by the blast in Beirut. Emirates is also providing people around the world with the opportunity to donate cash or pledge their Skywards miles via the Emirates Airlines Foundation. Officials say for the next 3 months, the airline will coordinate shipments of urgent food, medical supplies, and other much-needed items. Since the incident, Emirates has been supporting disaster relief efforts in Lebanon through the dispatch of several charter flights carrying essential supplies donated by various organizations in the UAE. The UAE today sent 13 metric tons of medical supplies and testing kits to 14 Pacific Island countries to assist medical professionals there contain the spread of COVID-19. Officials say the aid shipment reflects the UAE's continued efforts to support and stand by countries around the world by providing critical medical supplies and PPE kits to strengthen the efforts of healthcare personnel. To date, the UAE has responded to the COVID-19 crisis by providing nearly 1,300 metric tons of aid to 107 countries and supporting more than 1.2 million medical professionals in the process. The Ministry of Health and Prevention today announced 277 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of cases here to 63,489. The ministry also announced 179 new recoveries, bringing the total recoveries to 57,372. No new deaths linked to COVID-19 were reported over the past 24 hours, and the death toll remains at 358. Starting August 16th, passengers flying out of Dubai will need to get their rapid test before reaching the airport. A new circular says the test stations will be shifted out of the Dubai airport departure terminals and into Shabab Al Ahli Football Club on Al Nahda Street. Passengers who need a rapid test can use the complimentary service every day between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m., including Fridays and Saturdays, once they present a valid ticket. A fit-to-travel sticker will be fixed to their passports, and those who test negative for antigens will be allowed through. Travelers are advised not to remove the sticker until they reach their final destination. Passengers flying on Etihad Airways from Abu Dhabi are now required to present a negative COVID-19 certificate before departure. The new rule, which comes into effect on Sunday, applies to travelers on all Etihad flights to, from, and via Abu Dhabi. Currently, the PCR test report is only required for inbound passengers, but from August 16th, this will also apply to Etihad guests leaving the capital. The test must be carried out within 96 hours of departure, but children aged under 12 and people with mild to severe disabilities are exempt. The UAE-based vaccine trials have reached their target of 15,000 volunteers in less than 1 month. The world's first phase 3 trials for a COVID vaccine now have people from 102 nationalities participating in the program. The trials have successfully screened and vaccinated 15,000 volunteers with the first of 2 vaccine shots they're given in the process. The vaccine has been developed by Chinese pharmaceutical company Sinopharm. Volunteers are able to visit walk-in centers in Abu Dhabi and Sharjah to be registered and screened. Dubai municipality has temporarily shut down over 100 food outlets in the Emirate for violating COVID-19 protocols. They were also penalized for not maintaining social distancing and not wearing personal safety equipment such as masks and gloves during food preparation. Amal Al-Jabri has the details.
Handling, preparing and storing food or drink has to be done with the utmost strict hygiene standards and in a clean environment. The principles of food safety aim to protect food from being contaminated and causing food poisoning. And never has this practice been even more crucial, especially when the world is fighting against the pandemic. Since the 27th of May up until last week, Dubai municipality's food inspection teams have carried out 10,481 field visits of restaurants across the Emirate. They found that 107 food establishments have been violating COVID-19 precautionary measures set by health authorities to limit the spread of the virus. The food establishments have now been temporarily shut down for not adhering to the procedures. They were also penalized with various fines according to the type of violation, and those fines multiply with frequency. Officials say the most prominent violations were failure to adhere to social distancing, not wearing personal safety equipment such as masks and gloves during food preparation, as well as not using approved sterilization and disinfection materials. Moreover, inspectors checked daily follow-up records of the workers' health and sterilization and disinfection operations. They also checked to ensure that all safety requirements are applied to food during receiving, preparing, storing, displaying at healthy temperatures, and applying hygiene and sterilization procedures to prevent cross-contamination and pest control. Inspection teams regularly check all food establishments in Dubai, such as restaurants, cafeterias, cafes, groceries, supermarkets, and bakeries. Even delivery vehicles are inspected and monitored to ensure that they are sterilized, maintain food safety measures after each order, and change masks and gloves of delivery workers after every order. Overall, the municipality says the percentage of food establishments' compliance with measures to combat COVID-19 had increased from 93% to 99%. Apart from routine visits, inspectors also conduct inspections based on consumer complaints. With that, Dubai municipality is urging all community members to contact its toll-free number 800-900 to report any violations of food safety so necessary action can be taken immediately. Amal Al-Jabri, Emirates News.
The Ministry of Health and Prevention has announced new guidelines for valet parking services in the capital in a bid to help curb the spread of COVID-19. As per the new regulations, all staff must undergo mandatory temperature screening before they start their duty. During working hours, masks and gloves are mandatory, and staff should also wear protective face shields if they come in direct contact with customers. What's more, after each service, valet personnel are required to change gloves and sanitize their hands and use disposable covers on seats and steering wheels when parking the cars. Also, electronic payment methods should be encouraged. Abu Dhabi's iconic landmarks lit up with the hashtag #CommitToWin logo last night. This comes as part of an ongoing campaign urging community members to practice social responsibility. People are being asked to adhere to the precautionary measures put in place by the UAE to combat the spread of COVID-19. The initiative also urges the public to follow safety guidelines in order to gradually transition back to normal life. A new UAE initiative is set to train over 1 million healthcare professionals for free. It's called Waterfalls, and the project aims to deliver continuous education to doctors, physicians, pharmacists, technicians, and specialists in hospitals, management, and humanitarian fields. The remote learning program will be carried out by 140 experts and 67 academic and training institutes from around the world. The initiative is part of the UAE's efforts to support the international medical fraternity. Over 20.6 million people have now been infected with COVID-19 worldwide. Those are the latest numbers released by Johns Hopkins University, who have been tracking the global effect of the pandemic. They say that 750,000 people have died from the virus. The U.S. remains the worst affected country with 5.2 million cases and 166,000 deaths. Brazil is next with 3.1 million cases and 104,000 deaths. India follows with close to 2.4 million infections and over 47,000 deaths. Russia is next with 906,000 cases and more than 15,000 deaths. And finally, South Africa rounds off the top 5 hardest hit countries with just under 569,000 infections and over 11,000 deaths. In other news, the Hijri New Year holiday for federal entities has been announced. The Federal Authority for Government Human Resources says the holiday will be on Sunday, August 23rd. The authority has also clarified that regular working hours will resume on Monday, August 24th. The Ministry of Education has announced that 12th grade public and private school exams for the UAE national curriculum will begin on August 16th. And the exams are designed for students who failed to pass in one or more subjects or who wish to improve their grades in Arabic, English, and math. Other subjects available as part of the Smart Summer Course Initiative include social studies and biology and chemistry. The exams end on the 24th of this month with the Islamic education paper. Okay, it's time for a short break, but stay with us here on Emirates News as we join Greg Fairley at the business desk and hopefully some positive news coming out of earnings season, Greg.
Definitely, Ramya. Results are in from many of the UAE leading companies, including ADNOC, TAQA, Shua and Alda, covering core sectors of the economy. Details on the way when we continue. Stay with us. Earnings season continues, and starting with ADNOC Distribution, they've posted first half earnings which amounted to 1.42 billion dirhams with net profit at 910 million. Second quarter earnings hit 793 million dirhams with net profit of 511 million, compared with 595 million for the same period last year. Although the COVID-19 pandemic caused unprecedented market conditions in the first half of the year, the company says it remained resilient, delivering a 7.6% increase in underlying earnings for the first 6 months of 2020 compared to the first half of 2019. Aldar Properties has reported a 21% year-on-year increase in their revenue to 2.01 billion dirhams in the second quarter of 2020 due to a strong performance from their development business. Revenue growth was driven by robust demand for its prime developments, Aldar says, and infrastructure-enabled land, while the company continued to earn steady fee income from its third-party development management business. Alda says that their highly sustainable and diversified business model is currently demonstrating strong earnings, and even in a challenging global macroeconomic environment. Abu Dhabi national energy company TAQA say that their revenues reached 3.3 billion dirhams for the second quarter, reflecting the COVID-19 pandemic ongoing adverse impact on the energy markets. Now, the company says that revenues for TAQA's contracted power and water generation business in the UAE were unchanged on the same period last year, whilst within the international power business, revenue and costs declined, reflecting lower demand. Shua Capital has reported 164 million dirhams net profit between the January and June period of this year. The company's operating businesses, asset management and investment banking showed a strong sequential recovery in profitability in the second quarter, with earnings of 41 million dirhams. Shua says their investment bank's model remains resilient and is actively involved in capital restructuring and raising mandates in excess of $2 billion. That is your business tonight. Join me on Sunday when we'll be hearing about the opening up of the tourism sector in Sharjah. Have a great weekend, everyone. Now back to Ramia.
Thanks, Greg. Caesars Palace Blue Waters Dubai and the Residences at Caesars Palace is the latest hotel to be awarded the prestigious Bureau Veritas Safeguard label. The label recognizes the luxury five-star resort is following the highest of safety and hygiene measures. It means guests will enjoy strict and necessary protective measures and hygiene standards. Bureau Veritas is a world leader in testing, inspection and certification services. It conducted rigorous audits and exercises throughout the properties, which passed with the highest of standards. Officials say the hotel has implemented the Chariot program. That program was developed to align with the COVID-19 directives issued by local authorities and to ensure that the health, safety and well-being of guests remains a top priority. You're watching Emirates News. Time for another break, but when we come back, it's the sport with Graham Clues. So an MMA fighter has gotten into some trouble, Clues.
Certainly has, yeah. In the UAE Warriors series, he did something a little bit naughty in one of his fights, and quite rightly, he's now been kicked out, keeping things clean.
Bad.
All right, coming up then, an MMA fighter is banned from all further UAE Warriors events. And tomorrow morning, 300 runners will race up and down Ski Dubai in sub-zero temperatures.
Welcome back to Emirates News. Our top story tonight, the Dubai Crown Prince today directed the concerned authorities to make Dubai a cycle-friendly city. And it's time now for the sport.
"300 runners from 46 different nationalities will take part in the first ever snow run at Ski Dubai tomorrow morning. The 3-kilometre race will force runners to go down and up the Ski Dubai slopes with the temperature at its normal -4 degrees Celsius. Social distancing will be enforced the entire time, with one wave setting off at 6:30 a.m. tomorrow and then another 2 hours later at 8:30. The snow run is just one aspect of the venue's Snow Week, where there are various skiing and snowboarding events taking place all weekend. Al Wahda continues to be the most prolific UAE football club in the current transfer window, and they've made another addition to their squad. The new Arabian Gulf League season is scheduled to start in 2 weeks' time, and the Abu Dhabi club have now purchased Manay Mohammed from Shabab Al Ahli in Dubai. The 31-year-old defender leaves Shabab Al Ahli after 8 years with the club, has signed a 1-year contract with Al Wahda with the option to renew next summer. Meanwhile, in Serbia, the UAE national team training camp is ongoing, despite yesterday's announcement that they will not be able to play their World Cup qualification games this year. The Asian Football Confederation postponed all World Cup qualifiers across the continent until 2021, which means Luis Pinto's squad won't play a meaningful match for at least another 6 months. Now, this training camp in Serbia is due to run until the 23rd of this month, and as of now, The two planned friendlies in September against Jordan and Tajikistan are still going ahead. Dubai Sports World may be extended beyond its original end date in October due to high demand for its facilities. The multi-sport indoor arena in the World Trade Center is now into its 12th year and continues to attract hundreds every week. The most popular sports are catered for, with coaching and classes running all day, plus free time for anyone to give something a go. Currently, Dubai Sports World is set to run until October the 3rd at Zabil Halls, but organisers may push that to a later date if required. And mixed martial arts and the organisers of the UAE Warriors series have confirmed that Ahmed Al-Darmaki has been expelled from the organisation. Warriors 12 last month saw Darmaki involved in pushing the referee during his bout, and that came after he pushed his opponents in the pre-fight weigh-in here. Palm Sports, who run the brand, made an official statement saying the fighters' connections with UAE Warriors has now been terminated and that they continue to have zero tolerance to unsportsmanlike behaviour. All right, that's your sport for tonight. Have a great weekend. Now back to Ramia.
Thanks, Graham. And finally tonight, Mall of the Emirates is attempting to break the Guinness World Record for the largest mosaic made from packaged products. From today until August 16th, Funko, the pop culture collectibles company, will use its accessories to create a mosaic of Modesh, Dubai's famous Dubai Summer Surprises mascot. The Funko Guinness World Record attempt is the latest addition to Mall of the Emirates' action-packed program for DSS. Visitors to the mall are invited to immerse themselves in a rich and diverse array of theatre, art and dance workshops. There are also promotions and fun activations like the Boombox located in the Central Galleria. Good luck with that. Okay, and on that we end tonight's program. Follow us at Dubai One TV and at Emirates_News. And do continue to join us for our COVID-19 briefs throughout the day, as well as our regular 7:30 p.m. bulletins. Emirates News will be back again on Sunday. See you then. Good night.